Soldier is one of the most versatile characters in the game, being good in virtually any situation. This makes him the ultimate pub guard pick, akin to the Rambo medics of old. Here's the pub guard's guide to Soldier 76, so you too can get 4 gold medals every game to abuse the shit out of that MMR system. We want to get to the fragging fast, so I'm not gonna spend long on the basics. Here is a crash course to 76 in 4 easy steps. Step 1. Get good at aiming, or if not good, at least decent. Watch a guide if you have to, I'll link one in the description. Step 2. Get good at moving. Side strafing and avoiding damage is easy to learn and will instantly make you better. Fluid movement will come naturally as you play more. Step 3. Get good with your gun. At long range, fire 4-round bursts with no delay between them. This makes you pinpoint accurate, go for headshots. At close range, fire full auto. Aim for the upper body or the neck, not the head. You will have better accuracy this way and will still get headshots due to the large spread your weapon has on full auto. Step 4. Get good with your abilities. Know what they do and be mindful of how, when and where you use them. We'll expand on the last 2 points in the remainder of this video. Soldier, especially a pub guard soldier, fills a role in the team that I personally call the fragger. You're an all-round killing machine, the main source of damage for your team. There are other fragger characters in the game like McCree, Farah or Reaper, but we all know Soldier is far better than any of those. As the fragger, you're the workhorse for your team. If something needs killing, you're the one who needs to do it. Typically, you'll be hanging out in the front line of your team and helping with whatever your current objective is. Like many people like to remind you, doing the objective is how you win games. However, killing the enemies that are trying to stop you from doing the objective is how you do the objective, and that's your job. As for which enemies to shoot and in which order, it's quite simple. Gun for the easiest to kill enemy that is of the highest value for their team. I could go into great detail citing examples and shit, but it's really just common sense. The only hard rule you should follow is to always be shooting at something, unless you're being sneaky. Don't just ignore that Reinhardt shield because, whoa, it's hard to kill. The only way to take it down is to shoot it, and that's what you're there for. As a matter of fact, Soldier is the fastest long-range assault character to take down the shield. As Soldier, you have no matchups. You're good against everything and the only counter to you is outplaying. This means that as long as you're the best player on the server, you are immune to counterpicks. There is not a single character in the game you cannot beat in a duel if you're the better player. Here are some matchups you might not expect to be able to win, but absolutely can. You can outsnipe Widowmakers. This is actually super easy after the body shot damage nerf. Just strafe left and right and they'll miss all of their shots. On the off chance that they hit a body shot, just drop your biotic field. The Widow is almost stationary while scoped, letting you hit those 4-round burst headshots all day. Getting hit will usually make them panic and miss even more shots, and the only time you'll ever stand to lose this encounter is if it's actually a really good Widow. Because this is a pub guide, that will never be the case. You probably won't actually kill them unless they're dumb, because they'll notice they're losing and run away, but that's often enough. Try to surprise them with rockets after you get them to about half HP to burst them down quickly and secure the kill. You're no chump close up either. You can easily burst down low health characters like Reaper and Tracer with a couple of headshots and rockets. You can outmaneuver and outdamage Zarya, run away from Reinhardt, and while you can't dodge Winston's attack, his damage is so low you can just burn him down before he can kill you. There is one character that, when played by someone with 2 hands, you cannot beat at close range. To describe this character, imagine a Reaper. Now imagine Reaper's gun did 60% more damage, and had an alternate fire that can one-shot 200 HP heroes out to 20 meters. Now imagine this Reaper has 600 health, can self-heal for 50% of his maximum HP every 8 seconds, and can stun people for well over a second while pulling them to his melee range to be one-shotted. Then imagine this Reaper's ultimate did 4 times the DPS, lasted twice as long, and was also the most effective knockback in the entire game. What you have pictured now is Roadhog, a completely balanced hero. The only way you can beat Roadhog 1v1 in melee range is praying. Stay the fuck out of his range, which by the way is like 50 goddamn meters. The key here is that these are all dependent on outplaying. Soldier might not seem like it on the surface, but everything he does is basically a matter of just outgunning your opponents. You don't have shitty gimmicks like stun grenades or one-shotting hook combos or easy surprise angles to feed you kills. You kill your enemies fair and square by shooting them until they die, and you're bloody good at it. In this sense, 76 is the most honest and balanced character in the game. Sometimes a direct assault just doesn't work. Either your team is weaker than theirs, or they have a really solid hold on a choke point, or whatever. This is when you resort to your guerrilla warfare training and go for the flank. You may think that only so-called flankers like Tracer or Genji can flank. You'd be mistaken, Soldier is a great flanker. While your team distracts the enemy by suiciding into them in a choke point, you sneak around, find a nice position and start firing at their squishy rear. Unlike Genji or Tracer, you don't run into the midst of the enemy like a fucking idiot. Instead, you use your superior special forces training to flank the enemy from a distance and a location that gives you the strategic advantage. When flanking, you're focusing on high priority targets like supports and backline damage dealers. Your goal is to take out as many of them as you can, but more importantly stay alive so you maintain yourself as a threat. The idea is that once you start a flanking attack on the enemy's rear, the rest of your team start pushing the front and the enemy gets pincered from 2 directions. Even if that fails, flanking is still a great way to get frags. And remember, frags are everything on pub. Your abilities are for the most part straightforward to use. Here's a few words in your ultimate, which seems really simple on the surface but has some hidden depth to it. First, it only shoots body shots, but does so with a perfect accuracy and no spread. This means that it's not an all-purpose DPS increase, and there are situations where you don't want to use it. If you're fighting a Roadhog, it will make you deal less damage because you can't shoot his ugly fat face. Against squishier and harder to hit targets, it's a great help. If you get the jump on their backline, using your ulti to melt their support is often a good idea. It's also good for defending your backline against annoying Tracers and ulting Genjis. Second, it has some interactions not mentioned anywhere in the game. Using it immediately reloads your weapon, and reloading during the ultimate is twice as fast. Helix rockets are also auto-aimed during the ultimate, but they get no homing or prediction, so if your target is moving sideways at a distance they will probably miss. There are some advanced tricks for Soldier. Here are the 2 useful ones that I know. There might be more tricks I'm not aware of or that haven't even been discovered yet, but those are not included here. First we have the rocket jump. You shoot a rocket directly underneath yourself and jump immediately after. This gives you a lot more distance and height for your jump than you'd normally get, at the cost of 40 health. Rocket jumping lets you access some areas and shortcuts you normally couldn't. You can see examples of this in my other video here. To get even more distance for your jump, activate sprint in mid-air. Even if you don't sprint while starting the jump, you can sprint afterwards and still get the increased movement speed and distance from it. The second trick is the reload cancel. Soldier has a very typical reload cancel, where various actions can slightly shorten the time it takes for your reload animation to finish. The way it works is that when you see your ammo count go back to 25 when reloading, you perform another action, which will then replace the rest of the animation. This allows you to start firing again a little sooner, but the difference is fairly minimal, on the order of 200 milliseconds or 2 shots. The actions that you can cancel your reload animation with are melee attacks, helix rockets, biotic field and sprinting. The most useful ones of these are melee attacks and helix rockets. Melee is always available to you, and the helix rocket cancel is especially useful when you need to pump out as much DPS as you can, when for instance destroying a Reinhardt shield. Sprint cancelling is useful not because it makes you able to shoot again faster, which it does, but because you can start sprinting with a full clip sooner. This concludes the Pub Guide's Guide to Soldier 76. I hope you could learn something new from it. This guide is intended to view Soldier in the context of pub play, hence the name. The mindset and playstyle of a competitive player are different from those presented in this video. Note that ranked matchmaking is still pub. By competitive, I'm referring to scrimming and tournament play. For more pointers, try watching VODs by good soldier players, or just, play the character yourself and find out what works for you. In an FPS game, the only way to improve is practice. Guides can only offer you information, and first-person shooters are like 80% mechanical execution that you cannot learn from YouTube. What you can learn is some of the theory behind that mechanical execution, and that is what I have attempted to impart to you here. I hope that some of it was useful to you. Thanks for watching.